tonight. Voices roaring, we won't go down without a fight. Broken laws and shattered dreams we see. CPS no longer will decide what's meant to be. Don't tread on us, we scream into the void. Parents torn apart, families destroyed. We march forward, hearts ablaze with pride. Injustice crushed as we gather side by side. Abolish the chains and break the system down. No more kids for cash in this twisted town. Make parenting great with freedom as our goal. Here Tiff and the Punisher, we're reclaiming control. Constitution rules, we hold it tight. No more tears or endless nights. Stealing kids is not their right. We won't back down, we stand and fight. Battle scars from a war we never chose. Families torn, but our numbers grow.
And kids stalking us every day. The roaming eyes aimed your way, exposing their tech knocks. It's their turn to pay. It's time we stand together. Taking your kids is no joke. I don't know who ever spoke, saying you can have our kids, but they are fired. We have rights that we stand on. Time for CPS to be gone. Their services are no longer wanted. There is no reason for our kids to be taunted. Stay away, EPS. You have no authority. You hear is waxing war on me. Leave now before things get bad. My Constitution came from a revolution, defending the family as the foundation of our freedom. It gives us the way to beat them, so be aware, don't tread on me. I am the Punisher and follow my warning. I have the posse with me, so get to conforming. I'm all systems go, and we are ready for blast off. Harry is hiding behind the night, giving EPS a hell of a fight. He's not backing down while they try and steal his freedom. So challenge his will and feel his wrath. Bird is watching every move, making sure EPS doesn't screw the pooch. He knows the laws and enforces them. DPS, watch out, get off the porch, you can't come in. Danielle is fired up, looking for action. She hates CPS with a great passion. She'll fight all night if it needs be. Fighting APS is where she should be. Gunner is fierce with his knowledge, pretty good for a guy with no college. He was quiet until they ruffled his feathers. Now he's pissed and won't stop until it's over. We all have come together to fight this enemy. Together we will win for you and me. Our kids will come home. Let the truth be known. EPS, you never had authority. This is more than important to me. Return our kids home. We don't deserve to be alone. We are all EPS Punishers throughout the world. Our voices heard. We stand with a message. CPS need to learn. Fuck around and find out.
I'm just your average parent trying to do right by my kids. Never thought I'd have to, deal with something like this. It was a regular Tuesday afternoon. The kids' toys were scattered everywhere. Then there was a knock at the door. My heart sank when I saw who it was.
Hello, I'm from Child Protective Services. We've received a report and need to inspect your home.
I didn't know what to do. They wanted to come in, look around, talk to my kids. My hands were shaking. I felt like I was doing something wrong even though I knew I wasn't. But then, I remembered something I'd read online about knowing your rights. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry, but unless you have a warrant, I can't let you in." The CPS worker looked surprised. They weren't used to parents knowing their rights. It wasn't easy, but I stood my ground. I protected my family's privacy that day. Remember, when CPS knocks, know your rights. It can make all the difference.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this Tuesday night CPS Victims Hunting Justice. I'm your host, the CPS Punisher. As always, we have the chat right here under the right. Please leave your comments. Do what you got to do. Let's talk some CPS tonight. It's just me solo tonight so far. So if you guys have some questions or you guys want to get on, go ahead and leave it. But I was thinking we should check out some videos tonight, some TikTok videos, see what they got going on for some CPS. Haven't done that in a minute, and that's what I was thinking we could do. It'd be a good time to see what the hell is going on out there beyond the depths of just here. So let's check things out. All right, let's go in here. What have you guys been up to? You guys got any news in your cases? What else is going on? Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Here we go. Let's play this one right here. This is a great one right here. Share screen. Share screen. Boom.
Who is it?
Federal,
What's
state,
up?
or local government can be a party.
What's going on?
The truth is, the state is a legal fiction that cannot act, think, or commit an offence. It has no physical form, yet courts treat it as a living entity with rights, while denying those same rights to the people. 1. Sovereign immunity, the ultimate legal shield. The state cannot be sued without its own permission under sovereign immunity. This doctrine stems from the archaic king can do no wrong principle, meaning the government is above the law unless it allows itself to be held accountable. Even when exceptions exist, courts limit liability to ensure the state never truly faces justice. 2. The state is a fiction, yet it has legal standing. A corporation is a legal fiction, yet it can sue and be sued. But the state, which is nothing more than an administrative structure, is protected from being sued unless it consents. The people who actually make decisions within the state, judges, legislators, police, bureaucrats, hide behind this fiction, avoiding personal responsibility for their actions. 3. The court is an agent of the state, so how can it be impartial? When the state is a plaintiff, such as in criminal cases, the judge, prosecutor, and law enforcement all work for the same entity. This is a massive conflict of interest. making it impossible for the court to be a neutral arbiter. The real party in interest is always the individuals behind the state, yet courts pretend that the state itself is taking action. Shuffle. The state versus you illusion in criminal cases. In criminal cases, the plaintiff is the state of X versus defendant, but this is pure legal trickery. There is no injured party other than a fictional entity that cannot feel harm. This violates due process, as real cases require a real injured party, corpus delicti. Who exactly is the state that was harmed? They can't name a single living individual, because there isn't one. 5. How to challenge this legal scam. Demand proof of standing. Who is the actual injured party in cases where the state is the plaintiff? If they can't name a real victim, the case should be dismissed. Expose the conflict of interest. The state cannot be both a party to the case and the judge of its own claims. Push for personal accountability. If government officials commit harm, they should be personally liable, not shielded behind a fictional state. Challenge the state's ability to give itself consent. No entity should have the power to grant itself immunity from justice. Bottom line, the state cannot be a real party to a case because it is a legal fiction with no physical existence. The entire system is a self-serving construct designed to protect those in power while subjecting individuals to legal consequences that the state itself never faces. The state cannot be a party to a case.
All right. Well, that's one of those things that this little gunner out here. Well,
Well,
there it was.
who are we gonna
What's happening?
piss off today with some knowledge and education?
Yeah, that's what that was. I was showing that stuff about the state. You know, like the state's always coming out, and they always say the state this, the state can take your kids, the state can do this, the state can do that. But how come the state isn't even a real person, right? The state has no business at all whatsoever. So how do we challenge that? They say challenge it. Ask them if they prove who they are. Why not, right? How can that be? I mean, how can this be a fair court when the state is the court, the state is the everything in there? How can that be?
Mm-hmm. It cannot. As a matter of fact, the Constitution itself addresses this, and this is found. Once again, this is found in Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2 of the Constitution. It says that the state actually has the Supreme Court actually has original jurisdiction in cases in which the state shall be a party, because there is a conflict of interest and there is a bias. So yes, these what they have been doing within these states is getting away with it. There's been no accountability. In several cases, they are supposed to be mediators between two parties, which the state is not a party to. Therefore, there is no vested interest, which was there. They are mediators. They are merely mediators to go through those things. So then it becomes, how did the state take away so much power? And they're claiming state sovereignty, but you can't claim state sovereignty when it comes to the Constitution, because it is the ultimate law of the land. Therefore, you must abide by all of it. I mean, here's the thing that people don't understand. Every code, every statute, every policy, every statute, policy, procedure, the whole 9-yard codes, all have to be constitutionally sound. Otherwise, they are null and void. Bottom line. And that is what we're coming down to is, I think that the DOJ and everything else was talking about unconstitutionality of these administrative judges, law judges, these ALGs, which all of your state judges are. That's where you're saying you're overstepping your bounds. You're taking on things that is not your jurisdiction and claiming your jurisdiction. You're not following the Constitution. You're completely rogue. You went crazy with the Chevron doctrine and didn't rule on that, and you don't have authority with this, and you're not handling over jurisdiction, especially when there's issues of constitutional rights violations. The judge is supposed to recuse themselves once they realize, even within the case, either if it's in the middle of the trial, it's brought up in pretrial motions and anything else, I have a constitutional rights violation. The judge no longer, or that state judge no longer has uh, jurisdiction. There's no jurisdiction at all. But they proceed forward and they don't follow their oath, because it also means their job. That means they're not making any money for things. If they were doing everything legally and by the Constitution, the states wouldn't be raking in millions and billions of dollars, and that's all 50 states across this country with all their programs and everything else that you have through there. One, the disease at its core is going to be, and I'm going to call it out for what it is, are these, they're called social programs. And what they are is socialist programs. You must abide by the state if you this, and that. No, that's not a free man. That's not under the Constitution. That doesn't mean because I have asked, the government comes in or gives some assistance, that gives you any power over me. And that is what has been done. If you don't abide by this, we're going to take this way. If you don't do this, we're going to take this away. The idea of these organizations, the way they were founded, was to assist families, to keep families together. When there was a major issue, like in a lot of people, like you said, earlier on the Tiff and Punisher show, when you have CPS involved, the first shadow that comes over you so heavy is, what did you do to have them in your home? You must have done something wrong. And that's an absolute lie, because they've even gone so far as this mandatory reporting. You could do away with that in every state and have some common sense. But the issue is it was going to CPS, especially with child issues. These are legal things. This is the sheriff's office jurisdiction. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things that, once again, the states, all 50 states have told all of your law enforcement, your sheriff's office, your police office, this and that. When it comes to children, we come in first. The only person that has changed that thus far is the state of Texas, because of the massive issues. Texas actually right now is leading the way. If you were going to do reform, you would take the path that Texas is taking if you were a state. I'm saying they're moving in a good way, but that's not the root of the issue. The root of the issue is you still have the same corrupt criminals still working, but you just put them on a leash. They just got through infecting the whole neighborhood with rabies, but now you're going to put them on a leash. The dog's still around, type issue. They're still doing what they're doing. They're not being held accountable for their past crimes or anything else that they've done. That's the big issue they have, that everybody has, is everybody's getting away with it, and they hide behind things like, Rooker versus Feldman, and those type of things. This is what they have. I mean, they have so well insulated. You got to understand, guys, this goes back, and if you truly follow this goes all the way back to the Civil War in the Second Constitution. And people say, well, that doesn't, go look at its history. Why do you think they tore down all those statues of Civil War? Did you ever do some research on those people that went through it? You'd be surprised. Go ahead and look them up. Go down that rabbit hole, and you're going to find what they stood for and what they were talking about, or some of their discussion topics they don't want you to know about. That's how they keep you in chains, is by deleting your history. It's the first thing every dictator does, is comes through and controls the history books or the narrative. And that's what they're doing. They're doing it in public schools, everywhere.
That's what they're doing. These kids will never know what the Civil War was. They won't know what the fight was about. They won't know anything about it, because they're just taking that away. And it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Check this video out, man. Look at this one I just found. Go back to some TikTok ones here. Watch this. Which one was it I just saw here?
Now, Darren, you know full well I can't get on TikTok.
Oh, but you can view through this little
I can view through you.
Yes, you can look through me. Although it's very
co-conspirator to my banning.
Yes, sir. I sure am. Let's see here. Let's take a look here. What we got.
The phrase best interests of the child sounds good. Who could argue against it? It's supposed to guide family court judges in custody cases. The goal is to create the best possible future for children, but there's a problem. The standard is vague. What one judge considers best might be different for another. This subjectivity opens the door to bias. It undermines the fairness of custody decisions. Imagine two fathers seeking custody. Both have similar incomes and involvement in their children's lives. One father is a corporate lawyer, the other is a musician. The judge, who believes stability comes from a traditional career, might favor the lawyer. This bias, conscious or unconscious, can have a profound impact. The best interests standard without clear guidelines allows these biases to flourish. This subjectivity disproportionately affects fathers. Mothers are often seen as the primary caregivers. Fathers, even when actively involved, face an uphill battle. They must constantly prove their commitment. This bias against fathers is rooted in outdated gender roles. It ignores the reality of modern fatherhood. Many fathers are actively involved in their children's lives. They are capable and loving parents. Instead of relying on a vague best interest standard, we need a more objective framework. A child's right to have both parents should be the foundation of custody decisions. Unless there is evidence of abuse or neglect, children deserve access to both parents. This approach emphasizes the importance of the parent-child relationship. It recognizes the value of both parents in a child's life. This doesn't mean a 50-50 custody split is always necessary or appropriate. The specific arrangements should consider the child's age, needs, and the parent's circumstances. But the starting point should be the presumption of equal parenting time. This approach reduces the opportunity for judicial bias. It shifts the focus from subjective interpretations of best to a more objective standard. Section 4, shattering stereotypes, moving beyond outdated gender roles. The best interests standard is often influenced by outdated gender stereotypes. Mothers are often presumed to be more nurturing and better suited for caregiving, while fathers are relegated to the role of provider. These stereotypes are harmful and inaccurate. They limit the potential of both men and women as parents. We need to move beyond these limiting beliefs. Fathers are just as capable as mothers of providing love, care, and emotional support. Mothers can be successful professionals without sacrificing their role as mothers. Custody decisions should be based on each parent's individual capabilities and commitment to their children. Section 5, leveling the playing field towards a more equitable system. Implementing a more objective standard requires legal reform. We need clear guidelines for custody decisions that prioritize a child's right to both parents. This includes establishing a presumption of equal parenting time, requiring clear and convincing evidence to deviate from this presumption, and providing judges with training on gender bias and its impact on custody decisions. These reforms would create a more equitable system. They would ensure that custody decisions are based on facts, not stereotypes or personal biases. This approach protects the rights of both parents and serves the best interests of children in the long run. Section 6, a call for reform, ensuring fairness for families. The best interests of the child standard, while well-intentioned, is failing families. It allows judicial bias to influence custody decisions. This results in unfair outcomes for parents and children. We need a new approach. An approach that recognizes the fundamental right of a child to have both parents in their lives. By implementing legal reforms that prioritize equal parenting time and address gender bias, we can create a fairer and more just family court system, a system that truly serves the best interests of all children.
Yep. Now that's the thing about the best interest of the child. Did you know that it's up to the
phrase
judge?
Best interest
Hold on, let me
of
get
the
rid of this
child
here.
sounds
So it's up to the judge what they decide. So when they're sitting in those courts with CPS and they're getting the best interest of the child, it's up to what the judge decides is well, it's based on their terms,
Bias.
what their lives are like, or and that's not the way it should be at all.
Well, and that's the whole unconstitutional part about it, because you have another person that is from a different culture, a different religious upbringing, a different this and this and this and that. You are violating the constitutional rights of just even any of that unless a crime has occurred. Once again, a crime in criminal court, not civil bullshit. shouldn't even exist because it's a constitutional rights violation. There's the other thing. How is it if there are things such as the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has said very clearly that there's a well-established constitutional right of parents and children to bring up their children to do this and not have interference with it. And when CPS comes in, they're basically saying this is not good enough, but then it's up to the sole person of the caseworker to decide. But then you got to understand too, it depends on the upbringing of that caseworker, the training and everything else on how they're making those decisions. So if you're from, let me give you an example. If you're from the city and they post you in a thing out in the country, somebody from the inner city is going to look at the shit that people go through in the country and go, that's child abuse. And the country people are going to go, this is our everyday lifestyle. This is who we are.
Right.
And that's my right. You know what I'm saying? That's my right to protect it. And don't mind the ladies who are enjoying a little treat back here. Mama's back there in the background chilling. Fresh hot brownies with ice cream, boys. There it is.
Boy, that's and that in some places would be, the wrong thing. You can't be feeding that to people, and you know what? No way. But no, the best interest of the child standard needs to be thrown out. Period. In the story.
It comes down to it real simple. I mean, when it comes to divorce court and everything else, I think it's real simple. 50-50 custody automatically down the line until proven otherwise. And here's the thing that you talked about on the other show. And here's why. Because the person that's actually a piece of shit, and this goes on because we were just talking about with another situation with somebody else, Sharon and I, somebody else that we know, if they even care or if they don't care, they're just going to drop out and they're going to show themselves. They're not going to have anything to do with the child. They're not going to show up for this. They're not going to do that. They're going to do their own thing and forget about that. They're okay. Child support.
Right.
Right there. Okay. That's for the absent fathers, but you have so many fathers out there and even mothers now in certain cases of, it's pay or play because it's always the person that has the better job that ends up losing the kids, even if the roles are reversed. Now in the court say, well, men are getting them. Yeah, but the women have usually got better jobs than what the man has and has more income and they can drain more off of them. This is a scam. 100%. If you've got more money, a better job, access to that, they know you're going to spend that money, your life savings, to just see your kid. And if the judge feels there's this under no thing, well, we're going to go to supervised visits. No, now we're going to go to paid supervised visits. Since when do you have the right, any judge, to say that you get to collect a profit
off of my visits,
off of my visits when there's no crime been committed or anything else, but it's for the best interest of the child? No, it's innocent until proven guilty, and until then, it's off. I mean, if there's under investigation, yes, we can have some separation there. But once again, these are extreme cases, and that's in the mind of people that all these cases with CPS are extreme cases. And that's not the truth. They are framing people, literally framing people. And when you uncover some of their shit that they're doing and you start down that road, they will bury you. They will put a label on you. They will convict you of something without anything else, just to hide what they're doing, to discredit you from speaking up. 100%.
Yes, sir, they will. It's bullshit. Is what it is. Watch this. You seen this one? Let me see here. Which one did I see here? I just was like, let's see.
No, Darren, I haven't seen it because I don't have TikTok.
Oh, that's right, because you are banned from TikTok. Isn't this nice? Isn't this nice? You look at this is what it looks like, Gunner. This is what it looks like.
Do you know how peaceful it's been? I mean, yes, it's entertaining, but at the same time, the amount of stupid that would come through there. I'm just not actually. I'm enjoying my peace and quiet and my reality, to be honest. And I love doing the show and some of the communication, but it's on my terms. It's the same thing as the power of the TV and the remote. Turn it off.
Protesters gathering outside the state capitol.
Check this.
Building
And then we have the Family Forward Project is down in Washington right now too.
Washington D.C. This week.
Yeah, they're doing that. But check
Protesters gathered outside the state capitol building this weekend.
Come on. This is in Oklahoma.
Reform and change from the Oklahoma Department of Human Services. People at this protest were voicing their support for a possible state investigation into DHS, claiming the department's lying and covering up crimes against children. Fox 23's Devin Lyon was at the protest and heard the demands for change.
I want to tell you elected officials this. There's a train coming. There's a train coming. You can get off the track, you can get on the train, or you can sit there and get run over. But we're coming, and we're coming after you.
For those of you who are hurting children, if you want peace in your gates, you make peace with your Creator, and you stop breaking these families, because there will be no peace, because we will not stop until we have justice in Oklahoma, and children are safe, and families are no longer afraid of their government that's supposed to support them. Thank you for being here. I appeal to Almighty God for justice in the state of Oklahoma. God bless you. Thank you.
A demand for change.
These are real stories. We have over 6,000 DHS workers in the state, and we're 46th in the nation. Your taxpayers' dollars pay for these people to lay by the pool.
Families, abuse victims, and state lawmakers all taking part in a protest called Take a Stand, organized by Oklahomans for Children's Rights. They're calling for DHS accountability and change.
And it's not okay. We have to make a change in the state. And the protective parent is being punished.
This protest comes after a House committee order was sent to the State Bureau of Investigation to investigate claims of alleged and widespread lies and perjury in child abuse cases at DHS. It also includes multiple juvenile detention facilities. We told you the OSBI says the committee does not have the authority to order that investigation. But those lawmakers asserted their claim today that they do, and this is only a cry for justice from Oklahomans who have been grieved by the system.
I do not represent government to my people back home. I represent my people to government to make sure they are not destroying, walking on, trotting on, or, as I wrote down, perpetrating organized, government-sponsored child trafficking.
State Senator Shane Jett and State Representative J.J. Humphrey called for immediate action by state leadership, which included Governor Stitt and State Attorney General Gentner Drummond, whose signatures hold the authority to open the investigation.
If the governor can order it, he said, if this is really true, God help us, and I'm always ready for God to help me. But I'm asking, how about Governor, how about you help us and sign an order to do an investigation? We need to do a top-down investigation on the Department of Human Services.
When they intentionally do something egregious against a family, like take their children and place their children in homes that they've chosen, that is why we're here, is to make sure that the tremendous amount of power given to state government is not used by state government to hurt the people who gave them that power.
As that rally wrapped up at the footsteps of the Capitol building, one parent came up to me and gave me this binder full of what they're calling evidence that DHS has allegedly lied and covered up crimes against children. And they were just one of over 100 people here at this rally calling for accountability. In Oklahoma City, covering news that matters, Devin Lyon, Fox 23 News.
We reached out to DHS asking for a comment about the protest, and here's part of their statement. Oklahoma Human Services is committed to protecting the safety and well-being of Oklahoma's children. By law, the agency is not permitted to discuss the facts or circumstance or child welfare case with anyone.
What a lame ass.
Protesters
What a lame
this weekend, demanding reform.
answer to that, right? What a lame answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that that's the answer that they would give? That they come back? That's just ridiculous. Did you hear that, Danielle? What's up, Danielle?
Yeah. Hey, what's up? That is ridiculous.
I mean, why do we not see more states doing this stuff? Why do we not see more places coming into action like this? I mean, there's plenty of us in every one of these states. How are we not getting together and fighting this stuff? This is just absolutely asinine. And I can't believe that we don't see more of this.
Right. And I don't see how these states are like in my home state where they're covering it up so good that they just look like a golden state. Like I don't hear nothing about Georgia ever hardly, but I know it's going on. It's just they don't. This governor here, right? And the governor.
It's not just the government though; it's the people also. Like people in these, like, where is the outcry for people? Where's the Americans to help us when they've stolen our children? They're nowhere to be found. No one wants to catch CPS. No one wants to have this involved in their lives, you know, and this is what we needed for this movement is the people that don't have children involved or any family involved to pay attention and listen and help us with this fight, but they're not doing it.
The ones that just the ones that don't realize what's going on, that don't see it, that don't have a friend or something that's going through it, a family, like just our communities around us. That it's not every day that you run into people that are going face to face with a CPS nightmare. You know, it's not. But and we're just, I mean, a lot of people that I've spoke with don't even realize that it's that corrupt. They look at, I mean, some of them look at me like I'm crazy. Other ones tell me I'm crazy. But you know what? I'm not. I mean, it's like if I'm crazy, then you tell me what's up. I mean, look at, but you're asking me where my son is. So if I'm crazy, why are you asking me where my kid is? Because I just told you, and so I totally get it. Because a lot of them don't see it. They just think we're full of crap, and we're not. So, I mean, I just wish more parents that are going through this would speak up too. Like, stop being scared of these people, because these are, I mean, you got a lot more power than what we think. And then they want to join, or they want to come aboard or voice themselves, and then they chicken out. No, when you come on, like, when you voice yourself, you're out there. There ain't no turning back. Like, but I mean, because it's the truth. I mean, as long as you know you are going out there with the truth and the whole truth, like they say, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Right. I mean, hello, let's run with it. But because, I mean, that's all that we should, I mean, our words are words. That's all I mean, that's the way I've always been, like, thinking since I've been in trouble, you know, with the law. I'm on probation, that my word's my word, and they go by my word. So why would I want to sit here and bullshit anybody? Like, because you know, these are our kids, these are our families. What? And then what's even worse is when your own family's doing it to you, and trying to make themselves or trying to look good, and you know, like, it's just, it's not right.
Not right at all. And we all go through this. Every one of us, you know, like, the first thing we do is, like I said, we catch CPS, right? Like, your family, your friends, everybody leaves you. And, you know, you're absolutely right. They're like, oh, how's your kid? But then they don't want to take the time to listen to what you have to say about what's going on with it. You know, it's just just turn away. Just turn away. Oh, well, okay, thanks. Have a good day. They don't want to listen to what's going on. So why do they even bother asking? You know? Why do they even, you know, I mean, it's just like, why did you bother asking if you don't want to listen? You know,
well, they're even teaching these people how to take and utilize the maximize of the system. Give you an example. Right now, I mean, you take in 2 kids under foster care, you don't have to work. They're going to pay your housing. They're going to pay your grocery bill. They're going to pay your light bill. They're going to pay everything for this stuff and put money in your pocket, so it's a profit to do it. And the more kids you take on, the more you have. Here's the key. These are people that are fully able to go to work and actually carry a damn job, but they don't want to do it. And these are people I know that have foster kids. This is what I do all the time. No, you should be a productive member of society instead of babysitting somebody's kidnapped children. I mean, you really need to think about this, because here's the thing. They want to do away with and using these social programs to lessen the amount of and tighten the requirements for people to get food stamps, which is actually aid for people to do that, and direct those food stamps or those SNAP programs over to the foster care system, to where they absorb and suck as much of that dry with all these foster kids. So now they're benefiting somebody, and they're paying them to do this stuff, and incentivizing them and saying, look, you don't even have to go to work. You can sit down. That's what social programs do. They don't encourage you to get back and be a productive member of society. They need to redo that particular system as well. All the social programs, completely, food stamps, all of it, give you help with this and that. At the same time, you know, that's like somebody, you know, I saw this little clip here that somebody that was homeless and goes to the homeless shelter, and he was bitching and moaning that there was 5 days in a row they had spaghetti. Well, what?
I mean, he's getting
exactly. You see,
like, these things. I mean, wow.
Yeah. But that's, you see how they're milking that one sense of the system, because it's the only thing. Why? Those social systems under, like, Social Security or anything that's under those things, they're socialist programs. they shouldn't even be in our constitutional republic. You should have ways to help you when you have on hard times and everything else, and then get back into the system. The only thing other things for is people that can't. Well, then you have people. Hey, and here's the funny thing: do you know it's easier to get Social Security disability if you have a mental health problem rather than a bodily injury or anything else?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I've heard people say that. Yeah, and
I guess that covers all of us.
No appeal, no nothing, goes right through the psych thing. Why? Because what does that do? It automatically, and guess who's on board with that too? Big Pharma. Why? Because if you're psychologically disabled, who's getting the money? The psych doctors.
Yes, and it's funny you say that, Jonah, because I did it like a test run because my brother is disabled. He's psychologically and he's physically. His memory is totally shot, and he's mental health, and he is physically disabled. Well, I went on the Social Security side, and I was like, what? Because his claim has been taken forever, and then they denied him. So it was in there for like 3 years, and then they denied him, and I'm like, but yet they went and never scheduled doctors or nothing. But yet the state won't give him insurance either because they said he's got an open claim with Social Security. What the? Hello? Like he can't get nothing, no help at all. So I mean, we pay out of pocket for this, which I'll do anything for my brother. So I went on the Social Security site and I went up for Social Security. Do you know they went ahead and pushed mine through within 2 months? And I'm like, I told them, I said no. I said they said I was 100% qualified, but yet my brother. I said y'all are full of. I said that is ridiculous. I said my brother is. I said wow.
Because they would rather take fully capable people that can still do some sort of physical work or add to society and take them out of the job market 100%.
And I mean, I just could not believe that. And I mean, I can like my poor brother. He's still. They denied him, and now the appeal. We're not hearing nothing. So I'm like, I mean, heck, he's been on me for 10 years, and he just applied for it like 3 years ago when I finally, before he went to Florida for a month just to visit. But yeah, he said he had to get away from me for a minute, so that's fine. Broken.
I couldn't imagine.
I am a lot sometimes.
I'm sure that you can be quite a handful. I'm sure, Daniel, you're just a. Let's see here. What's we got now?
But is it a force to be reckoned with? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you certainly are that. Oh, have you ever guys seen this one right here? I don't know if you got this. Pull this one up here. Check this one out. This one's great.
Forth in this case.
Oh shit.
With the appellate court.
Yeah, have you seen this video? Watch this. This is
great. Here's the case law. This is what tells the state actors, the government actors, that they should have known better. It's clearly set forth in this case law.
Yeah, that's the case.
Georgia? Here, it's interesting.
No, that's in California, District 9 Appellate Court.
This court has actually found that as of the date of the underlying conduct here in 2000, when
you talk about Costanich.
That is correct.
Costanich deals with foster care licenses and guardians, not natural children of parents.
Costanich deals with the underlying liberty interest of a 14th Amendment claim, which is the same
for foster parents.
For foster parents.
That is true. A guardianship.
And guardianship, not natural parents. It seems to me that as early as the 1940s, the United States Supreme Court has held that there is an absolute liberty interest, a fundamental liberty interest that parents have in the care, custody, and control of their children. That's been on the books forever. I have a whole bunch of Supreme Court cases I could read from. That's just going to waste a lot of time. They have that fundamental constitutional right.
So well
and it cannot be impaired without due process of law.
And where the qualified immunity analysis and the clearly established law plays into this is, do we have case law that tells us that?
No. You've read Help versus Pelter. There doesn't have to be.
Listen to what he says, though.
There can be other ways of showing that it's clearly established. Case law is not an absolute requirement.
Right there.
It is.
Have you read Hope versus Pelzer? And all the other cases that talk about that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, there does not have to be a case on all fours.
You're correct.
Correct.
There does not have to
Okay.
be a case on all fours.
Right. What isn't clearly established here?
The fact that what Costanza says, what's not been clearly established in the year 2000 when this removal occurred was the idea that the right to be free from deliberately fabricated evidence in civil child abuse proceedings that result in the deprivation of a protected liberty interest, the same liberty interest that's at
But it's not the same liberty interest because this was a parental liberty interest.
Fabricated
it's
evidence. Did you hear what she said?
biological
Fabricated.
versus
Arguing about
That's huge.
fabricated evidence.
That's gigantic in terms of what somebody could appreciate and understand. How in the world could a person in the position of, we have to take the facts as they're pleaded in the light most favorable, so, we're not trying the case. But how could a person in the shoes of your clients possibly believe that it was appropriate to use perjury and false evidence in order to impair somebody's liberty interest in the continued care,
to
custody,
live with and raise your
control of
children.
that person's children? How could they possibly not be on notice that you can't do that?
I
Because they're
understand
buying
How
and
could
selling
that
children for
possibly
profit.
be?
I understand the argument that it seems to be common sense and our
Because there's
It's
no
more than
due
common
process.
sense. It's statutes that prohibit perjury and
Right.
submission of false evidence in court cases.
state statutes.
Are you
Which
telling me
binds
that
the
that a
government
person in your
official.
client's shoes couldn't understand you can't commit perjury in a court proceeding in order to take somebody's children away?
Of course not, Your Honor.
Of course not.
Isn't the case over then?
And the case is over.
Because
Costanich
here
is
today?
distinguishable in my view. How in the world Costanich deals with a secondary, foster care? That's a whole strange thing. It's not a person's real child.
even if Costanza
And
is
guardians, the same thing.
Noticing that
Even
they
if
don't
Costanza
recognize the
is
difference between family
there
and any
is-
other entity.
Right.
thus far, we have not been presented with any clearly established right that tells us that what our clients did, which is remove the children pursuant to a court order.
No, but what they're accused of doing and what the issue is here is committing perjury in a court to take away someone's children. And you just said that's obviously not okay to do.
According to our moral compass and our ethical guidelines, but what we're here to decide is the constitutionality of it, and we look to the courts.
You mean due process is somehow consistent with a government official introducing perjured testimony and false? How is that consistent? I mean, I hate to get pumped up about this, but I'm just staggered by the claim that people in the shoes of your clients wouldn't be on notice that you can't use perjury and false evidence to take away somebody's children. That to me is mind-boggling.
In criminal proceedings, we know this to be true because that.
No, like criminal proceedings, it's court.
See how
it's a
she played
court
right there?
proceeding.
Not criminal,
There's a
we're in
liberty
civil
interest,
court.
a
Remember, this is
fundamental
where we
liberty
play.
interest at stake.
Please say the words
And
that.
on the reverse side, the state.
And you're telling
also-
us that these officials who do this all the time couldn't be on notice that you can't commit perjury and put in false evidence.
I understand broadly the principle that common sense tells us that lying is wrong and lying to.
Yeah, but it's more than common sense. We're not using common sense. We're using statutes, for example, against this kind of behavior.
I was not presented, I have not been seeing any federal
Shut
law,
down on
case
both
law, or
statute
law that tells
and
me
common law.
that in this situation that we were faced in, which is what we have
Well,
to
say your
look at.
Slam the
clients
door
are
on
hired.
Here's the case law. This is what tells the state actors. the
And what
government
was that?
actors
What
they
case
should
was
know
that,
better.
Darren?
It's
What's it
clearly
say there in the
set forth
corner
in
of the
this case
judges?
That
our
one
matter
is
here, it's interesting.
Hardwick
Hardwick
versus
Reverse is
Hardwick
actually
versus
This court
Marcia
actually
Vrieken.
found that
Yep.
as of the date of the underlying
Which is
conduct
in the
here in
chat.
2000,
Let's
when,
put that in the chat. Yeah,
Talk
so
about
the people can
Costanich.
look this one
that
up.
is
And
Spanish
correct.
deals with
there was-
foster care licenses and
Yeah.
guardians, not natural children of parents.
I
Costanich
can't
deals
see it
with
from here. Where
the
Hold
underlying
on. I got it.
liberty interest
It's
of
Hardwick
14th
versus Marcia
Amendment
Vrieken.
claim,
Right,
which is
just
the
now.
same.
For foster
For
parents,
foster
so.
parents.
That is true. A guardian.
So that's that. This is. How many of you out there had this same shit happen to you guys in your
yeah.
cases, right?
Definitely. Yep.
And then here's the ninth, and I don't remember how this ended up. I don't remember the outcome of this case, to be honest.
I think they got the kids back.
Oh yeah, that case got completely shut
And they
down.
got
I mean, it was a huge settlement on that.
like they railroad, like they that girl, that lady that represents the department, she got railroad, like she got it handed to her from them. They were pissed. I mean, and that's what you call real right there, them judges. I wish we still had something like that.
Wouldn't it be great if we had something like that around, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's pull up one more here before we got to get out of here.
That was the Marcia book.
Okay. No, it's all right.
What was it? Hard work versus who?
Marcia
Vreken? Vreken?
Vreken. Yeah.
Presley Mark Regan. Okay.
I'm putting it in there.
Marcia Vreken. All right. All right.
Yeah,
Check
there we
this
go.
out. What this lady has to say here. Here we go.
Okay, so everyone's talking about the Chevron deference case, and everybody's got their own views and opinions on this, and yes, it's going to talk a lot of shit. But I do Child Protective Services reform, so this is actually a big win for us, and I'm going to explain to you why. So here are some potential avenues for reform in Child Protective Services. 1, legislative clarification. We all know we need that as leaders, don't we? So having legislative clarification, that'll make sure that we have clearer laws. Legislators might be prompted to draft clearer, more precise laws to reduce ambiguity and the potential for varied interpretations by CPS. This could streamline CPS operations and ensure more uniform application of child protective laws across different jurisdictions. This is also an opportunity for legislators to update statutes and modernize child protective statutes to reflect current best practices and societal expectations, providing CPS with more robust legal framework. This will create more judicial oversight, which is what we've been screaming about for years. This will create consistent interpretations. With increased judicial scrutiny, courts could provide more consistent interpretations of laws affecting CPS. This might lead to more standardized practices and reduce the variability in CPS actions across the different regions. Also, rights protections. Courts might place a stronger emphasis on protecting the rights of parents and children, ensuring that CPS actions are balanced and justifiable under the law. Honestly, this is all we've ever been asking for. This will also create enhanced accountability. The need to justify decisions more rigorously could lead to improved accountability and transparency within CPS. The agency might implement better documentation and review processes to support their decisions. This could also lead to more training and education. CPS staff may require additional training to understand and navigate the legal landscape more effectively, ensuring that they are well equipped to implement laws accurately and consistently. I think that this will also divert a lot of the money that's going to CPS for removing children, and that money will be more diverted for resources like legal counsel, because they're going to have an attorney with them every step of the way, or else you might as well just have an attorney be a CPS worker, because they're the ones that know the law. This will also lead to evidence-based policies, more policy development. Without Chevron deference, CPS might rely more on evidence-based policies and practices that can withstand legal scrutiny. This could drive the agency to adopt methods and interventions that are demonstrably effective in protecting children. And then we have stakeholder engagement, which this kind of goes great with the bill that was just introduced. For every CPS case, you have a child advocate or a parent advocate, some kind of advocate on the case. That's what I do. So this would be stakeholder engagement. CPS might engage more with stakeholders, including legal experts, child advocates, and the communities they serve, to develop policies that are legally sound and socially responsive. So Michigan, whoever is going to be doing the stakeholder engagement, my name is Erica. I'd like to be invited to the table. And I think I already mentioned this on resource allocation. Increased judicial involvement could lead CPS to allocate more resources to legal departments, ensuring that they are prepared for potential litigation and can effectively defend their interpretations and actions. This will lead to operational efficiency. It will reduce the burden of legal challenges. CPS might seek to optimize their process and reduce administrative inefficiencies, potentially improving overall service delivery. So pretty much this Chevron deference doctrine could drive CPS to operate with greater legal precision, transparency, and accountability, potentially leading to more effective and equitable child protective services. It can positively impact CPS and the families that they're supposed to help in many different ways. So without the Chevron deference, CPS decisions would be subject to greater judicial scrutiny, encouraging the agency to be more transparent, accountable in its decision-making process. This could lead to more meticulous documentation and justification of actions taken to protect children. Already been brought up, the clear legislative guidance, the need for more precise laws. That would give us the more precise laws that we need, reducing the ambiguity in legal framework governing CPS. Clearer laws could help CPS operate more effectively, ensuring that their actions are consistent and legally sound. that is something that CPS definitely does not want to do. I am sure that they are freaking out right now. We already discussed the consistency and interpretation, so we're going to move on to emphasis on evidence-based practices. So CPS may be encouraged to adopt evidence-based policies and practices that can withstand legal challenges. This focus on evidence can lead to more effective intervention and better outcomes for children and families. And this one, to a person like me, an advocate, is most important, protecting your rights. A balanced approach is the best approach when having to deal with children and families and agencies like CPS. An advocate like me, I have been fighting for this for years, and now we've actually got this opportunity because the courts might place a stronger emphasis on protecting the rights of parents and children, ensuring that CPS actions are balanced and justifiable under the law. This could lead to more thoughtful and considered approach to child protection. I already know I touched base on this, but I'm going to say it again. Improved training and professional development. Legal education for these CPS workers. They are no longer going to have an excuse to say that they don't know the law or this, that, or the other, because either they're going to have to allocate somebody to be their right-hand man to, remind them what the law is. I'm sorry, you can't do that. This is the law. Or their supervisor, oh, you can't do that because of the law. Or, hey, remember this, that's the law. Or flat out, they're just going to have to get more training and have to know these laws. And then if they don't practice these laws and they don't follow them, they're going to be constantly reminded that they're not following them, so that eventually, if they're getting told 10, 20 times, eventually a supervisor is going to have to turn around and go, you know what, you've been told 10 or 20 times, I know you know this. And then again, stakeholder engagement. Yet again, Michigan, when it's time to come to the table so we can discuss some new laws, some new policies, or how you should be handling yourselves, I would love to be invited to the table. And lastly, this one's very important. Efficiency improvements, resource optimization. Pressure to avoid legal challenges may drive CPS to optimize their processes and reduce administrative inefficiencies. Streamlined intervention operations can improve service delivery and allow CPS to focus more on their core mission of protecting children. So yes, the Chevron deference doctrine could present challenges. They also offer opportunities for CPS to enhance their accountability, consistency, transparency, effectiveness in protecting children and supporting families. Pretty much the Chevron deference doctrine pretty much put CPS and families at a more of a level playing field. And this will also make it to where CPS workers will no longer have this feeling of I can do whatever the fuck I want, what the hell are you going to do to me? So yeah, I think this would be great, and I also think that we need to get rid of immunity, because that would be great, because these people run around thinking that their shit don't stink and that they're immune to everything, and I feel like that they need a big fucking kick in the back of the head to tell them, no, what you do matters, and if you do something wrong, we're going to get you. So, I want to know what you guys think in the comments about the Chevron deference doctrine. What other agencies or areas you think that this could help, and what areas you think that this would not help in. And let me know what you think in the comments.
All right. Thoughts?
Hey.
I mean, I know we talked about using this.
I mean, it was still right.
Oh, we lost Gunner, huh? Gunner went away?
Yeah, he said he'd be right back.
Oh, we lost Gunner. Yeah, well, the Chevron talks about, you know what? It also talks about that they need to rule without the authority of the opinion of the caseworkers. Like it's no longer like at the opinion or the, how many people have been in their cases and they lose because they say, oh, well, I don't think they broke the law, but the caseworker, errs the side of caution and says blah, 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 blah. Well, they can't do that any longer. They can't do that any longer. Chevron doctrine was overturned. That's what Obsidian says.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just very important things that people need to address with their lawyers when you are talking about CPS cases. Bring that up to your lawyer and let them know that, hey, pay attention to this stuff. But we have reached our time, guys.
They need to be putting in their draft documents too about the Chevron doctrine being overturned so that they rule appropriately and that you're aware of it. All your court documents.
Yes,
not
sir.
just your oral arguments.
That's right. And the documents too. Gunner, you want to start them up tonight?
Know your constitutional rights. Don't forget, if you guys are going through mental health issues, depression, this can be a lot. Once again, dealing with CPS is psychological warfare, as we point out on our show every other week on Gunning for CPS. There will be future announcements as to the future of our show and some of the other things. We have some things to take care of this week. We're going to see where that lands and whether or not our availability is going to be there. Just stay tuned to the CPS Breaking News Network on all of our channels to, as soon as something breaks, we're going to let you guys know. If any big stories are going out there, pay attention. If something goes off in the middle of the day, you guys kind of know our schedule. Those are usually breaking news or something really big going on. And either myself or Darren or Danielle will say, hey, we have something massive. We got to get this out there as quick as possible. Tune into those channels. Other than that, keep strong, keep your family strong, lead with love, but take no damn mercy when it comes to taking their heads off, not literally, once again, figuratively, and wiping out and putting them in the same position or even worse than where they put you.
So you, Danielle.
I do want to share that a caseworker that she's in another state, but I do want to share this with everybody. What she wrote me, she said she said she wishes that she said even because I had messaged her or talked to her, and she was talking about, she said if you don't, she was telling me like where to find certain things, but she said she said there are federal statutes that show what states are required to do for children and families. I think, and this is her words, I think most of the times child welfare professionals take advantage of families not knowing information and laws or their rights, even down to how kinship families are supposed to be considered first as placements. I really wish there was a way I could make a bigger impact in this area. So these people are fully aware. So I mean, that's pretty much her, like I asked her, and that's pretty much her saying that they are aware of what they do. They know what the hell they're doing, the bad ones, and it's making from my impression, there's more bad apples than there is the good-hearted ones, which is that's just evil. That's just messed up in my eyes. But I wish that, and so for her, and she does want to say to everybody that she does only great as the people she connects with, and that means everyone else. She said, stay in the fight, don't give up. And she said she's seen so many parents step down, walk away from the process because it was just too much. She said our passion and our drive, because she watched the podcast, the channel, keep your family together, and keeping your family together is unmatched. She said keep fighting, stand up, and it's we're gonna get the bad apples out of there. We're gonna get this reformed. So I'm hoping she comes out like she is a good she's good. So y'all keep fighting and just know that we're being cheered on, and they want us to be, because they, there's a lot scared out there for some reason. I wish they would be more speaking up, and I think the more we voice ourselves, the more they're speaking up. So we all got big mouths. Let's make it happen, right?
Yeah, do that. That's right. Yes, ma'am. You got it. I like what Danielle just had to say. We do have big mouths, so let's use them. The only way to get the word out is by using our big mouths. So let's do that. Let's pack it up. Let's get ourselves together.
That's right.
Gas to the metal. And as always, let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Punisher, and we are out of here. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Let's go. The world getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate. Separate and segregate, don't celebrate quite yet. The storm is coming, cue for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate the values of our country, and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate, do fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on the streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour, troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show is stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues.
the sheep. I only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when we speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheek. Drink from a glass half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition. No, I'm gonna start resisting, and then I pray for forgiveness.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show, it stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. We need you now. One day, one day, one day, I hope you see the truth. This puppet show, it stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun,